Good morning. Welcome to the garden. I have my basket and my little shears out here, and we're gonna do a garden tour. And I know there's some tomatoes that need picked, and I'm sure there's some cucumbers that need picked. And yeah, things are happening in the tomato front for sure. I harvested about probably 15 tomatoes Thursday night or Friday night, and I need to get those processed in the freezer today, the ones we're not going to eat. And I am also going to can some pickles today, so stay tuned for that. So I came out last week and did a bunch of pruning on things. As you can see, I kind of like hacked away at these. They're still pretty bushy down there, but I did hack away right here at the entrance. The herbs are doing stupendously. This lime basil is pretty much taken over. My dill is about hip height on me now. Over here is where I planted my 18 bean seeds. And I don't see any popping up yet, but I just did that a couple days ago. So they take, I don't know, they can take up to a week to germinate. Strawberries filled in their space very nicely. Hopefully next year I'll get some actual fruit off of these. The peppers down here, I did actually pull a couple out. I said I was going to, and I just did it the other night. I was frustrated with them, and so I just yanked the two out that were right here. And see, like, this one is so tall, but it has no flowers on it. My little serrano plant has a little serrano on it. Just one. Still no bell peppers at all. I do have a couple jalapenos. They're starting to get some size on them. Back here. So, looks like I'm just gonna end up with like 3 hot peppers this year. I need to go get my basket because there's some red happening down here. So, determinate tomatoes, when they ripen, they set their fruit pretty much all at once, and then they pretty much ripen all at once. So, in my experience, last year I grew only Romas, and they pretty much all ripened in like a 3-week period. So I think I may be on the very cusp of that period right now. The Viva Italias are a little different. They are still setting flowers, which is interesting. Like, here's some tiny little Viva Italias right here. And like that plant over there has some flowers on it. And there's some flowers right here too. But like, see how lacy and like leafy and lush these look? Like, this plant is ridiculously leafy. Meanwhile, these aromas have bigger leaves and the fruit kind of sticks out. Like, this one specifically has a ton of fruit right here. So there's some tomatoes on here that need to be picked. Maybe. I'll leave those. And these Romas look different from the ones I had last year. I don't know if maybe I ended up with a different variety somehow or what, but they are for sure. See, that one was a little under, but it's okay. I'll go ahead and pick it. They are for sure a different shape than the ones I had last year. I'm gonna leave the rest of these on here for now. This is the plant that had blight, and it doesn't look great at all by any means, but it does have tomatoes on it, so I'm leaving it. This is the one that's just absolutely loaded, and as you can see, there's like yellowing and leaf spot happening, but I try my best to combat that with hydrogen peroxide sprays and, you know, watering at the base and all that fun stuff, but it still happens. These plants are pretty close together. I probably planted these a little too close together, but I'm making it work. Yeah, I don't see, oh, down here. And this is a Viva Italia plant, I think. go on the other side. Oh yeah, look at this back here. Yeah, so see, like right here, these all have blossom end drop. Like really bad. There you go, birds. I'm gonna leave these on for another day or two. And here's another one. So, I have struggled more this year, there's one, with blossom end rot than I ever have. Last year I grew only Romas and had no issues at all. These are Viva Italias. This is a Roma. See, they look completely different, but last year my Romas looked like this, so I don't know. So last year I didn't have any problems with blossom end rot at all. Like, none. And this year I am struggling with it. It's just been a hard year for gardening, I think, in general. I almost sat on the plant. Look, I picked that one too. I've been picking them when they're a little bit under, just because I worry about them getting eaten or bugs getting to them or whatever. See, like this one looks pretty done, but it's so small. I mean, like, it is tiny, tiny. Here's a couple more. These are such, like, look at that one. That's such a weird shape. I don't know. I just go with it, you know? At this point, that's all you can do. That one has a hole in it. It might be salvageable. We'll take it in and cut it open. What the heck? That is... I don't think I've ever seen that. I'm gonna throw that. I don't want that one. I basically have just been throwing my tomatoes off in the yard that I don't have holes in them or whatever, unless they're big. And the birds and stuff eat them. So the beans here, these bush beans, these are the old bush beans. There are some beans on here that I'm gonna pick. Surprisingly, this plant is still alive. I honestly did not think that it would still be alive at this point, because look at it. It looks ridiculously bad. But it's still producing. It's actually producing more now than it has like all summer. So I don't know. I don't know. I did just plant a whole bunch more bean plants. So hopefully I'll be able to like pick beans, go inside, immediately make a pot of them. That's what I really want. The sunflowers, I need to cut some of the heads off. They're still blooming. Like here's a couple new blossoms, but then like this needs cut off. And see, there's like a little baby one opening. But yeah, I mean, this is just what happens. They bloom, they die, like those up there need cut off. And the process continues. They send out other little, like this is a little head. Down here in the tomato arch, look at how big this thing is. This is a Cherokee purple. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And then this is also the plant that has the conjoined. Oh, here's another blossom. Some more blossoms up here. Yay! That makes me happy. It's been not as hot and humid this week, so the tomato plants are setting more flowers, which is good. Lawn keeper. I don't know. I guess I'll pick that. I might as well. So I am not going to be regrowing this lawn keeper. It is just not great. It doesn't really have much flavor at all. It just kind of tastes like, I don't know. I did a taste test of all the tomatoes I had in the house at that point, and this was one of them, and I tried this for the first time, and they just don't have a lot of flavor. They taste kind of like a grocery store tomato, but obviously they're better because you grow them in your backyard, but they're not my favorite. So that will not be a regrow. But I have a bunch of seeds of different tomato plants. So if you watch my video from Friday, I kind of talked about my plan for next year. I still don't really have a plan. I have plenty of time to think about it, but I would like to go ahead and figure out what I'm gonna do for next year. In terms of tomatoes, everything else I think is not a big deal. Like the other arch is fine the way it is. I will keep doing things that climb over there, but this tomato arch is the arch that's going to not be an arch next year. So anyway, I digress. This is the San Marzano, and it is also setting new fruit. Here's some new little babies. And this plant actually has grown up more than I thought it was going to originally. I should have just brought the basket down here because now I'm dropping tomatoes all over the place. Yeah, like this one is split, but it's fine. I'll just lay them on the ground. Whatever, pick them up. And there's one more over here. Oh, okay, I guess I picked two. I didn't mean to pick that one. Oh well, okay. Let's pick, can I pick all these up? Nope. Maybe. Yep, haha, I got them all. I need to bring the basket down here. This is a very red basket today. Except there are a couple lemon boys that need picked. This purple Russian plant is stupid and ridiculous. Look at it. It's so big. I'm about to top it, honestly. I'm about to cut the top off so it stops growing. But I'm also curious to see how big it does actually get. I came out and picked a bunch of these the other night. Look, this one has a hole in it. Oh, come on, I just broke that branch. Yeah. Oh, look at this. That's yummy. There's a worm living in it. Okay, well this is coming off. Oh, there's a worm living in that other one too. Hold please. And there's like literally a worm in that tomato. And this one also has like a bunch of holes in it. So these are actually gonna go in the trash. I mean, I may just go throw them in the compost. God, this is gross. So let's talk about the compost really quick. I did a whole video about compost. How I started in compost. Well, I kind of have let it go. And by kind of have let it go, I mean I have not done anything to it. I know that's kind of the point of compost, but you have to like turn it, and this tomato's grossing me out. I have not done anything at all to it. I haven't added anything to it. The only thing we've added to it recently is grass clippings. So, just gonna throw these in there. Like, this is my compost right now. Covered with trees. And this stuff right here, I'm like allergic to that. It makes me so sneezy, so I'm just gonna leave it. I'm just gonna, yeah, I don't think this is gonna work out. Ooh, it's bright. So anyway, back to the garden. I picked about, I don't know, 6 or 8 purple Russians. No, probably more than that. Probably 8 or 10 purple Russians the other night, and brought them in the house. They were pretty much all split. Those tomatoes, not good. Don't like them. They don't taste like anything. So I will not be regrowing those, which is fine because they're a stupid plant and I don't like it. But I am putting them in the freezer. They'll add to the salsa, like stuff. I mean, you know, no problem. There's a ton of fruit on it, and that's what makes me mad because it's not very good fruit. It's just, it's okay. But like every single one of them, as they ripen, they split. Like this one's big and round. There's a couple over there that I'll pick probably tomorrow or the day after. I try to let stuff ripen on the vine as much as possible. Like here's more baby ones. It looks so weird. This is my Chianti rose plant, and actually, I am seeing, this is so exciting. I actually picked one of these the other night. I didn't even know there was one on here that was ripening. And I came out here and there it was. And it had split on the bottom, but it's okay. There's one. Here's one. There's one. There's one back there. There's flowers. Oh my gosh. This is so exciting. This is my favorite tomato. Maybe of all time. I don't know. Probably of all time at this point in my life. Oh, look at all these baby ones. This maybe made my whole day, and it's only like 7:30 in the morning. Okay. Here's another one that's starting to blush. It is not as big as the others have been, but that's okay. I'm okay with it. So I'll probably pick this one tomorrow or maybe the next day. Maybe I'll pick it as a birthday gift to myself. My birthday's on Wednesday. Look at that big guy. Yeah, there's, ooh, look at this. This is a fused blossom. That's awesome. That's gonna be a huge tomato. I cannot wait for that. And again, this plant has a little, oh, there's another baby one. It has some yellow leaves, but the rest of it looks healthy and it's growing plants. The lemon boy, go ahead and pick that. It's a little green on the top, but this, this tomato is so good. Honestly, I've eaten one of these for lunch like every day for at least the last week. They are so low acid and they have such good flavor and they're so meaty. This is definitely a regrow for sure. And this plant is a hybrid. It actually came from Menards. Like both of these plants came from Menards. I just couldn't resist buying them. I don't know. I got to the point where I was so anxious to put my tomatoes out that I just bought plants, which was dumb, but I did it. And I'm glad I did because these are so good. I love these so much. He goes. Let's see. There were a couple more on here that were starting to turn, like that one. Here's one back here that is still, nah. That one needs a little more time. That one down there. This is a baby one. Yeah, he needs a little more time. I'll pick those tomorrow probably. Yeah, these plants are doing really well. They are setting more fruit. Like up here, there's a little baby one. There's some more flowers. When we had the heat wave come through a couple weeks ago, they did fine. Everything I heard did fine, but when it's really hot, tomatoes don't like to set flowers. But now that it's cooled down and it's less humid, they're like, ooh, okay. And like, here's another baby one back here. So small. All right, grab the basket because we're going into cucumber land. And you know there's gonna be cucumbers. Okay, here we go. Oh, excuse me. Here we go. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. I planted kale right here and right here. I don't know if it'll come up or not, but it's okay. This is the burpless cucumber plant. As you can see, there are cucumbers on it. Ooh, that need to be picked. So that's what I just picked. 4 big cucumbers. Pickle plant is not doing great. I don't know. There's a couple like tiny baby pickles on here, but I haven't gotten any pickles in the last few days, which honestly is fine. Like here's a couple down here that are small. These cucumbers, the burpless ones, actually make pretty good pickles, especially like refrigerator pickles. So that's what I've been using those for and eating them fresh. Here I planted mammoth melting snow peas. As you can see, they're doing great. They haven't come up yet. I did leave some beans over here. I did also pull out some beans over here. because they weren't doing anything. This is another bean plant that I had planted a few weeks ago. It looks like it's another bush bean, which is perfect, I guess, whatever. The watermelon is in his little home, and he's getting bigger. He has plenty of room to grow. And let's see. There are no new female blossoms on this, which is okay. It's fine. You know, it's just our first season for watermelons. It's okay. This little guy, look at him. His little stripes are still there. This one lost its stripes as it got bigger. So I'm assuming that one will do the same thing, but I'm not sure. I pulled out that bean that was right there. It wasn't doing anything. This cantaloupe has officially attached itself to the trellis, which is exciting. And this big cantaloupe, still struggling with a bit of powdery mildew. You'll see. I don't know if it is powdery mildew at this point. I'm not sure, but there's a bunch of more leaves I need to cut off. It's still growing though, so that makes me happy. And the watermelon itself, or not the watermelon, this is a cantaloupe. The cantaloupe itself is still growing. It's starting to look like an actual cantaloupe now. Like I was just at Kroger and like they had melons that looked like this. So I am excited about that. This pole bean, as you'll note, has no leaves down here, which is interesting. But come up here, and there's beans hanging. Now these aren't quite ready yet. Another day or two, they'll be ready to come off. But yeah, like look up here, there's all kinds of leaves all the way up to the top. And actually, look, it goes like this. That's fun. Yeah, and there's flowers coming in up here, so I might have some beans hanging. And also, look, there's a cucumber up here. So that's awesome. Down here, there are no more beans, you'll see. I planted some golden peas. My marker ran out and then didn't run out, so that's why that looks like that. But yeah, I planted some golden peas right here, and hopefully if they all germinate, they should climb up the trellis like the beans. So that's today's garden tour. There's a lot happening. Filled my basket up today. I am super happy with how everything's going. The peppers, but whatever. I've accepted that that's, you know, not working out. So yeah, I'm just gonna try to keep up with everything. I'm going to keep harvesting, keep freezing tomatoes, and get those ready to be processed. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.